Hi everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Julie Montague, otherwise and sometimes known as Viscountess Hinchingbrooke. I married into the British aristocracy, and I'm here today to talk about dining with the Queen, top 10 etiquette lessons if you like. I studied these tips because I always thought when I married into the British aristocracy, there might be a chance that I actually might meet her. Before you ask, I'll answer. I still have yet to meet the Queen, but I hope one day I will be able to meet her and actually put to use some of, in fact, all of these tips. So from how you dress to how you sit to how you eat, these etiquette lessons are a must. So number one, let's start with how to sit in the presence of the Queen or even as a royal. The legs and the knees must be kept together. We've seen many times Kate Middleton sitting like that with her legs and her knees together, but she also crosses her ankles, which is allowed, and that's been coined as the Duchess slant. But did you know that Princess Diana also sat like this as well? So knees and legs together, crossing at the ankle is fine, and the knees shifting over a little bit to one side. It helps keep your posture intact, and also it makes your legs look a little bit longer too. Number two, how to curtsy when you see the Queen. That is a must. So anytime you're in the presence of the Queen and you meet her or you're having dinner with her, you must curtsy. But the thing about the curtsy is that it's not about this really deep bend and lifting in one sense of dress. So I think sometimes, and I thought this as well, that it was more like a proper like deep bend in the knees and almost like lifting your dress or to the sides or sticking your fingers out to the sides. No, it's just basically one leg behind the other, and it's a gentle bend in the knees and a slight bow to the head. So I'm just going to keep my arms and hands alongside the body. I'm going to gently bend the knees and a little bow with the head, and I'm back up. So rather than doing it quick, it should be just, again, just a nice length. So the Queen arrives, and you're done. Number three, dress appropriately. So I'm dressed as if I'm going to a formal dinner party with the Queen. In fact, this is my early 1900s, very long dress, if you like. But of course, if you are going to have any type of meal with the Queen or even meeting the Queen, you must dress appropriately. And what that really means is you must wear what we say in America, pantyhose. Over in the UK, we say stockings. Absolutely no mini skirts. What about the tiara? Number four. When you're marrying into the royal family, you must wear a tiara. And tradition always had it that the tiara that the bride wore would come from her own family. So let's remember that when, past brides, apart from Kate Middleton, when they married into the royal family, they were usually from other aristocratic families that had family tiaras. So that's why we did see Lady Diana Spencer actually wear her own family tiara to the wedding of Prince Charles. But things changed because William married Kate, who didn't come from an aristocratic family that had a tiara. So she borrowed a tiara from the Queen. So did Meghan Markle, and in fact, so did I. So obviously I'm American. I did not come from a family that has a tiara. And so my husband's family kindly lent me the Montague family tiara, and I actually wore that for my wedding. If you were at a formal event and didn't know what to do as far as etiquette goes, please be sure to share your stories down below in the comments. Number five, how to hold your knife and your fork. Now, as an American, this was probably one of the hardest things for me and something I had to get used to very quickly. As an American, I'm really, just to be perfectly honest, was just used to basically cutting my food, putting my knife down, and then eating everything with my fork, stabbing it, putting it in my mouth, and eating, right? Simple. Not when you come over here at all. So, and you will see this all over the country, not just even in the royal family. So fork in the left hand, knife in the right hand. And you always keep the fork holding in your left hand when you've got the knife in the right. So you would cut your food, and rather than stabbing at the food and picking it up to eat, What the royals do, and many others, is they slide the food onto the back of the fork. So the tines are always pointing down. So you would cut whatever it is, and then you would slide that food, it's a balancing act, right? Onto the back of the fork, carefully bring it up and eat it that way. Now there is a quick cheat, which is terrible, but it is a cheat. I use it all the time, and I use it because my husband also does it as well. Cutting the food, and you can scoop the food onto the fork this way with the tines up and eat it that way. It's quicker and it's not so much of a balancing act. So cut, slide, but you would never want to do that in front of the royal family, ever, ever, ever. Number 6, how to hold a teacup the right way. Yes, that is a big one. So how not to hold it is to pick it up and just hold it with your hand, right? How to hold it properly is to use the thumb, the index finger, and your third finger. So the thumb and the index finger goes through the little hole there, the thumb rests on top, and the third finger gives it support. This whole thing about pinkies out, honestly, don't ever show your pinky when you're in the presence of a royal family. That needs to be tucked in as well. I have actually been told that I should never have my pinky out when drinking a cup of tea. Number 7 is leave the table quietly if you need to use the powder room. You don't need to tell the person on your left and your right, excuse me, I've got to leave the powder room, or excuse me, I have to take a phone call, or excuse me. Just say, excuse me, get up quietly and leave. But when you leave and you're in, again, the middle of the meal, the question is, how do you place your utensils? And that is a big thing that I had to learn as well when I came over here. I'm in the middle of a dinner with the royal family and I'm eating. Remember, I'm scooping the food onto the back of the knife and eating it, but all of a sudden I have to leave. So what do I do with my fork and my knife? Cross your utensils, and the fork again stays pointing down. The tines are down. So you're crossing the utensils, and listen, as far as the angle goes, I've seen it many, many different ways. I don't think it has to be in so far, but it certainly isn't like this all the way out. It's just putting them down so the waiter knows that you'll be back. When you come back, you pick it up and you continue eating. However, when you've finished eating, then what do you do with your utensils? I know, right? When you finish eating, you must place your utensils side by side with the tines of the fork up and at a slight angle to the right. Think of it as like 4:20. So on a clock, it's about 4:20, and this is how the waiter knows that you are finished and they can clear the plate away. Complicated stuff here. And what about eating when you're dining with the Queen? Number 8, you must stop eating when the Queen stops eating. If you're hungry, eat quickly and get it all in and get finished before the Queen, of course, puts down her utensils. Of course, the other etiquette as far as eating with the Queen is not just with the utensils and stopping to eat when the Queen stops to eat, but of course you can't sit at the table until the Queen sits down as well. When the courses are served, that gets a little bit tricky. So the Queen sets the pace. She will talk to the guest on the left during one course. When the next course gets served, she will switch and talk to the guest on the right. And so you switch between talking to the guests on the left and the right when the courses get served. But of course, you must always follow what the Queen is doing. Number 9, no autographs and no selfies. I would immediately be kicked out of that royal family. So that is the rule. So the royal family will not give autographs. And of course, the new autograph these days in the 21st century, a selfie is really considered an autograph. And they're not supposed to do selfies either, but I think there have been a couple royals recently who have done some selfies. So we'll see what happens with that rule, but I can guarantee you, you won't ever see the Queen giving an autograph, or doing a selfie. And last, but certainly not least, and probably my favorite, number 10, wear a hat to formal events. And again, this is something that we do think of the royals wearing a hat set, in fact, all of their events, but let's remember, their events are always formal. So hats are super important to wear, and the rule really is that you can wear a hat up until 6 p.m. Once the clock chimes 6 p.m., that hat must come off, and tradition has it if you were going on to another formal event, you would wear your tiara. But I do have some hats that we're going to look at here, which is really exciting for me because I found these in the archives here at Mapperton, and these are at least 100 years old. So the first hat, it matches my dress. I have to take it to a milliner to have it repaired, but we believe that this hat is over 100 years old, and it does match my dress today. This would be the back of the hat. Yep, and this would be, I believe, the front of the hat. So here's the back, and here's the front. Well, maybe I could try to put it on really quickly. It has been eaten by many moths, but it is over 100 years old. How does it look, Stephen and Claire?
It's good.
It's a bit holy. So we're gonna take this one to the milliner and have it repaired. It is repairable, but I just thought this is pretty spectacular, this hat made with beautiful silk. There is, of course, in this lovely hat box, a lovely summer hat as well. So I obviously wouldn't wear this with the dress that I'm wearing, but if I were to go for tea, actually there's a couple here, how fantastic. Which one am I going to wear? I'm gonna wear this one. If I were going for tea and have my summer dress on, I would definitely be wearing this summer hat, and I would have my hair down too as well. So how does it look? Probably not good with the dress though. No, Stephen's like, absolutely not. So I'm gonna carefully put these back in here, but the other one, which is fantastic, is of course men. And what we have here is we found this in the archives addressed to the Earl of Sandwich. Now what's extraordinary about this hat for me is the inside. And again, I'll be taking this, it's in pretty good shape, and you're gonna see how old it is in a second. It's in actually fantastic shape. Apart from the under the brim right here, it needs a little repair because of the moths. But when we look inside the cap, and this is how you're gonna see how old it is, it says, by appointment, hatters to H.M. the King and the royal family. So this is from Old Bond Street, Piccadilly. Hatters to H.M. the King. It even has it on the side as well. So His Majesty the King, that probably was Queen Elizabeth II, our current queen, her father. So this is probably from George VI. It could though, however, be from George V, and in fact, I'm gonna find out about that and see if I can somehow date this and see if it's George VI or King George V. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And of course, we'd love to hear from you, so do comment down below if you've had any faux pas at formal dinner parties or anything else you'd like me to know.